a year ago, our clinic was ticking over, I guess, but our profitability was quite low.
Yeah, it was lower than 2% per annum, the profit margin. We had a business loan at around the $228,000 mark. We were running an overdraft around $35,000. And basically we lived from week to week, month to month to pay bills, and it was, see what was left over at the end.
About a year prior to that, I became the sole owner of the business. I had a previous business partner, and she was pretty much the person who did all the business part. I was turned up, did my work. I was the grunt and she was the brain. So I had very, very little knowledge at all about business
or interest.
Or interest really. I was pretty happy just to turn up and go home. And look, I was only working 3 days a week. We had lots of protocols and procedures in place. Whether they always happened, they didn't. But we've done a bit of work on the business. It's just that I probably wasn't involved in much of it at all. I was interested, but both of us were really balking at the money, at the cost. We just didn't feel that we could fit that into our budget at all. So you were very persistent.
And Joan kept praising you, saying he's a really smart guy. I think the clinic could get a lot out of this. And I was saying we literally can't afford to do it.
Yeah. So, thankfully your persistence paid off, and I had all sorts of caveats in place about, will you let us out after a year, and which now just seems ridiculous.
And Joan wore me down. I just gave up and then said, look, do what you feel you have to do.
For me, I just had no knowledge at all about business. I knew nothing. I didn't know what a profit and loss was. I didn't know how to read one. I didn't think I could learn it. It just seemed like completely foreign to me. I had a little look previously, but nothing ever came of it. I had no knowledge. It was completely useless at business. So I think that was the biggest hurdle, and that's become something that I'm really comfortable with now and excited about. What's more.
So that sort of shift from your knowledge of being a business owner as opposed to a vet working in a business, if you had to give yourself a ranking, so one's, I guess a new grad, 10's, where you really understand business, where would you have put yourself in your confidence and knowledge around a business owner, and where would you put that now in, a numerical score?
Oh, look, I was not on the scale previously. So, now I reckon, I don't know, I don't want to give myself a rap or anything, but not like maybe 6 or 7. There's still a lot to learn, and I still love to have the support that the program provides. That's a real bonus for us, because we've still got heaps to learn. And as you said, if you think you can learn it in a weekend, then you're kidding yourself. And there's a lot that goes in behind it, as you said, about mindset. And I guess people might poo-poo that, but I tell you what, that part of it is equally as important. The mindset, the improving your whole life and your lifestyle is equally as important, I think, as the business stuff. For me, I was the person who always slept in. So now I'm up at 5:30 every weekday, and at least one day on the weekend. And I exercise 6 out of 7 days. That just what happens. I do a lot more with intention, so that intentions are a big driver for me now, just to setting little personal intentions and intentions in different situations. So, and I eat better, lost some weight.
Oh yeah, I could say you're looking amazing. Okay, because it's not something I ever promote to people as such. I know the impact it has to people outside, because of course your mindset, everything you create in your mind first, and then it flows out to your business, to your team, to your clients, to your partners in life, to your children, etc., etc. So it's, it's nice to hear that it's having that impact. So why do you think the AMG process Why do you think it's worked so successfully for you? Or maybe what we should do now, let's just give everyone a description of where your business is at now, a year down the track. Where's it sitting at now?
Okay, so we have paid off our business loan. So that was Friday, anyway, 10 days ago, paid off our business loan, which was amazing. So we had thought we fast-tracked it. We had decided when we first started the program to fast-track that. We thought we would pay it off in 5 years, so we increased our loan repayments. And we paid it off in 2, which was astounding, really. So that is 1 year paying that off. 2 years paying it off, as compared to our accelerated, in our own minds, was going to be 5 years rather than 10, and we did it in 2. So that leaves us actually owning the clinic now, which is really amazing feeling.
Yeah, we haven't used the overdraft 9-10 months, so yeah, it's just been gradually paying off the clinic. We bought lots of new toys at the end of the financial year because we could afford to, for a change, rather than because we had to. Yeah, so the vets get whatever they need to make their life and the animals' lives better. So, that's best practice as well. So.
And the profit, the practice, where's it sitting at now? You talked about it was sort of 2%. Where's it sitting at now?
It varies. It's varied a little bit, but our best has been sort of 27%, and I'm a bit down in the dumps when it's 13.
We averaged 17, or just under 18% last year.
It's not a bad turnaround from 2.
No.
So, and you've been doing that consistently, that sort of sub 5% for sort of a number of years. Yeah. So if I'd said to you a year ago, let's go back to August last year or July last year, and I said, look, come on board this AMG program. This is in 12 months' time. Your practice is going to be averaging 18% profit, and you're going to have a more engaged team, and you're going to be healthier and lifestyle and blah blah blah. What would you have told me out of interest?
Not to swear. No.
Yeah, you're kidding.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way.
Does it seem a little unbelievable from that perspective, from where you were, because the reality that you knew, it seemed a little unachievable? Would you say that?
Definitely felt unachievable, and I don't. And I think when you said leap of faith, it's a big leap of faith, because you, like us, you just don't have a clue, because you don't have a clue.
Yeah,
you have no
you're
clue.
in your own reality. You only know what's happening each month. So to say there's something better at the end of the road, you go, yeah.
And I guess to go, if you're at 2%, you can't imagine to increase by, I don't know what percent increase that is, but it's a lot. It's sort of hard to think that, I guess most people go, you'd have to jack all your prices up to, the billio, but that just hasn't really been the case with you guys, has it? You've sort of done.
No, it hasn't. We've always had our prices at the 75 percentile. So our prices, we didn't have a lot of room to move with our prices. So that hasn't been, and, I know some of the other clinics in our group had a lot of room to move with pricing, but we didn't, we were up there already. So it's not just about jacking all the prices up to achieve this by any stretch of the imagination.
That leap of faith you talk about, if someone said to you, oh, the program's expensive, with the new perspective you've got, what would your response to that be now?
Well, I wrote something down, Sam. I would say you first thing, I can't afford to do it, but having done the course, I would say you can't afford not to do it. It would literally, it could change our lives, but it can change your business at the very least, The value you get out of it far outweighs the cost.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think that that is a trivial amount compared to what we've achieved financially. And I think, but be prepared for commitment. You actually have to be committed to it. That's really important to know. It's you guys are not doing the work for us. You're guiding us, but we still have to put it all into effect. So be prepared with the commitment. But it's just, you won't even be thinking about that monthly fee at all. Well,
what is let's talk about commitment, because I know it's a thing that a lot of people go, oh, like it's that fear of, oh, I'm already so busy, I don't know if I can do any more and things like that. How much time would you say, hours per week? Are you doing more or less, or is it just you're doing the same amount and a different focus? Give people a bit of insight to what that's like from a time commitment perspective.
Okay, so I was only working 3 days a week. We had made our practice a lifestyle practice anyway, except we were achieving, not working so much, but not achieving the dollars lifestyle that we wanted. So I was only working 3 days a week, and I, with thinking about that, I would say I probably put in another half a day now. But that's not actually doing vet work. That's doing, some of it's at home at night, some of it's just coming in on my days off, or a weekend. So yeah, I reckon I probably put another half day in, maybe a little bit more sometimes.
Yeah. And what would you say to someone who's really busy? Like, obviously you were in a different scenario. You weren't,
Yes.
you know, you had a bit of time up your sleeve. Someone who's doing, you know, they're already flat chat and they think, oh my gosh, I'm in overwhelm. I couldn't possibly put anything else on my plate, and the program's going to be a lot of work. What would be your take to think about someone in that scenario based on your experience?
I think you've got to prioritise the time, you know, and I certainly think that many people who are really busy, some of it's of their own making. You know, some of it is because they're not delegating. It's because they're not using the nurses that they have. You know, I don't ever talk to someone about flea and tick control or whether their dog's being wormed. That I don't have to do any of that. And so if you're doing that, and I don't write up my consults. You know, my nurses do all of those things. So you should be looking at strategies to get yourself out of that, and you will get those sorts of strategies in the business academy. But yeah, so I think you need, if you ever want to stop working like that, you really got to set that time aside, because otherwise you'll just be struggling and, you know, and burning out and starting to hate your profession. Yeah.
It's a different way of thinking. It's what we call leverage thinking. So you're working on, because I'm guessing you only really work on the high value task in your business now. You've really freed up your time, so you're just working on the things that are really high value tasks. Is that right?
That's right.
Whatever adds value, I think we prioritise now things that are going to add value to the clinic and the business.
Yeah. So what's some of the, what do you reckon the biggest benefit that you've had as a, you know, through the program so far? And let's face it, you're only halfway through the first part of the program. So far, if you had to pick out one of the biggest benefits, what would that be?
Financial security, obviously, is the big one for us, because, you know, I'll be honest, I was having sleepless nights before we joined you, and even the first few months after joining AMG. So financial security, and the confidence. We have real business plans now. We have an idea where we want to take the business, you know, in the vet clinic.
In the next probably month, we'll be completely debt free. So, and that's, you know, that's a huge turnaround for 1 year period. So, but there's been some other sort of added benefits. When I took over the vet clinic, I said to Neil that, you know, I wasn't prepared to do that. I did look for a business partner, and thankfully that didn't happen. But I said to Neil, you know, I didn't want to be a sole practitioner if he wasn't on board. And so he then started to learn to be the business, you know, practice manager. And the other really nice thing about it is that it's been very positive for our relationship. You know, we're better friends. You know, we've got some solid future plans for the future, and, you know, we know where we're going. You know, and together. So that's been a really nice benefit. It's been great also to have the group of people that we're with. You know, we've made some really good friends. Eventually, when all the COVID stuff, I'll be zipping around and visiting people's practices because I'll be able to. And it's also good to know, you know, to have that group and have the workplace that, you know, that people all have the same struggles. You know, if you say, you know, this is a problem, then someone will have a solution, someone will have been through it, someone will have the piece of paperwork that you need, so you don't have to quote you, reinvent the wheel. You know, you can just depend on this group of people because they're like-minded, they're going through the same, you know, set of struggles, whether that be staff or COVID or whatever, and that's been another great benefit as well.
Yeah.
So it sort of removes that, I guess, that isolation, I guess, that we have as business owners. A lot of the time you feel like you're the only one who, no one really understands what it feels like, and the sleepless nights and all the rest of that, or the pressures that are on you. So sort of having a group of people who get it, but you're also all gunning for getting out of that scenario.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's really cool when when you sort of post something that's happened and to you, you know, positive, and everyone's going, you know, great, that's great news. It's really uplifting to have people, you know, saying you've done so well. That's, you know, because we all like that. You all like that. But I think as compared to sort of going off to a weekend soiree somewhere and then coming back and trying to implement it all yourself, you know, that whole idea of, okay, this is a work in progress. We're going to do this over 2 to 3 years. You don't have to think, you know, we're going to take it step by step, and see what happens next. It's really exciting to be thinking about, okay, well, where to from now? If it was that good in the first year, wow, where are we going to be in years or 2 years' time?
Does it sort of feel like it takes a bit of the stress off of the program in a way because of the coaching that goes with it, that you understand, just focus on this first, we'll get that done, then focus on this and get it done? Like, does it sort of feel like it's a methodical step-by-step rather than you're left to your own devices to try and all figure it out by yourself?
I think it removes the overwhelm.
Right.
Yeah, definitely removes the overwhelm.
Yeah, there's definitely a flow to the course as well, I feel. Like, you feel like doing baby steps, but then you gradually seem to accelerate because you begin to understand the beginnings, the base.
Just to sort of, you know, said where we're from. We're in a town of 10,000 people. There's another vet clinic in town. There's, you know, plenty of vets up at Twee. There's a vet over on the coast. So this is a small town. You know, we've got North Coast, New South Wales. So one of the, you know, a lot of hippies. So it's achievable. It's a small town, you know.
Such a cool journey, guys. Well, thank you. So stoked to see your results. It's just fantastic. So I'm really happy to see how well you've come in such a short space of time. So good on you.
Yeah, no,
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam.